where you at, man?
You feel cold, and when you feel cold, I want you. And when you feel your
But if you ever get in that interrogation room, don't say my name, man. Look, I saw that boy, he told me hit him up, text. Next thing you know, he wasn't witness protection. Boy turned state's evidence cause his partner had told. Snitches they zone cold, they stuck like scarecrows. Fuck boys say they riders but ain't ever rolled. They ain't sticking to the script, they ain't developed code. Hook me up, violent flagrant, Jonathan worked with police. Coy's a straight agent. Chris was by the chips, his coin, dude was lawless. Big scams like ID theft, that bank fraud shit. Mika trying to hook me up, talking about stacking. CPS, give you the kids, claim on your taxes, trying to get me to go. I'm like, nah, I back down. They walk into that big bank off in downtown. They got popped, the squad course collar them up ringing. They walked into interrogation, started singing like, giving evidence on everyone connected to now the investigators, DA, detectives too. Give us some more leads and we'll lower the sentence. Just keep your nose clean cause you don't know who the snitch is.
Yo. What's good, people? What it do? What it good do? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can y'all hear me? But driving to school, but listening. Thank you, Archangel Michael. What's good? Appreciate you. Hey, long gone. Yeah, we're gonna. I'm checking the names. I saw all the names. They were on there. But again, yeah, we'll figure that out. I think everything is good to go. What's up, y'all? It's a very interesting day in LA. And I'm going to touch up and talk about that. I don't think a lot of people are too familiar with this situation. And I'll give a little bit of backstory. No pun intended, backstory. Because this guy, Bricc U, who you see on the screen, he called another guy, Whack 100. He called him Back 100 because there was some evidence of him being on Clubhouse, butt naked, laying on his stomach. Okay, I ain't gonna go all there. But anyway, this is set in the West. This is Wolfgang Amadeus, and right now, I don't know. I think people are expecting me to respond to other content creators about some of the stuff that they've been through, but I'm not gonna go there. It ain't even that serious, you know what I'm saying? I know I just got off the phone with somebody, and I might end up just doing a what's the word I'm looking for? A live, or we're gonna break it down. Basically, all this stuff that's going on online right now, we're gonna break it down, and tomorrow. I think that's what it is. But yeah, y'all, look, there's a whole lot of stuff going on out there, and people saying this and people saying that. That song that you heard in the beginning, that was one of my joints that I dropped years back, and it's just called All I Know. We sampled Hall & Oates, right? And it's just talking about stuff that goes on in the streets, or now on the YouTube streets or the internet streets, and getting involved in situations like that's going on right now in LA with the Operation Drawdown. That includes members from 60s and Bricc U. And it says, the LA gang crackdown, rapper arrests and gang leader indictment, Bricc U. I believe he is on the run right now. He's not been apprehended. If those who don't know who Bricc U is, well, Bricc U is responsible for artists like Nipsey Hussle. He discovered Nipsey Hussle. He managed him. He had Nipsey on his label at one point. I think there was conflict. If you guys don't know the history, there was a lot that went on with Big U, Nipsey Hussle. There's even some rumors about the demise of Nipsey Hussle, and maybe Big U had something to do with it, allegedly. But right now, yeah, it's real crazy right now in these streets of LA because people are talking. People are talking, and I'm gonna do a little update because it's just dropped, and I was very shocked. But some people seem to have known this was gonna happen all along. You know, most importantly, that guy that I mentioned, his name is Whack 100. So basically, in recent months, you know, this law enforcement in Los Angeles has intensified efforts to dismantle criminal networks operating throughout the city, particularly those linked to street gangs and organized crime. The coordinated initiative dubbed Operation Drawdown has resulted in several high-profile arrests, dramatic indictments, and sweeping actions against both low-level gang members and senior figures in the criminal underworld. Let's run it back. Whack 100. I'm sorry, Big U, aka Eugene Henley. That's his name. He was known as Big Draws. Jaguar Wright knows this guy because that guy managed one of Jaguar Wright's friends. His name is Corrupt from the Dog Pound. And you can hear back day, you know, he would say Big Draws. That's what he's talking about, Big U. So I find it funny that they call this Operation Drawdown when his name was Big Draws. So Operation Draws Down. If y'all understand where I'm coming from, you know what I'm saying? Auntie Leia, hey, what's good? Yeah, let me see. I don't know if the situation that's going on with the chat, because I want y'all to hit the like button. And yeah, okay. I'm so out of the loop. Are you and Mad G now on the outs? I'm sad. We love you and Jad. I'm not on the out. I mean, I'm not on the outs with this woman. She's going on a press release, a press tour, a troll tour, if you'd ask me. And it's all for attention. So let me talk about that just for a minute. And I'm not finna get too in depth in that conversation because in all actuality, what was said, what was said, what was done. And you know, you got individuals out there that's just out here still on the clout chase. She even admitted that she was clout chasing. If y'all pay attention to what she said a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm gonna just say what the homegirl Real News posted. That's all I'm gonna say right here. That's coming from the biggest hater. He won the biggest hater award, Buck Nasty. That's all I'm gonna really say about that. But yeah, what up, Mike Mill? Hey, bro, do you wanna talk about this? I can send you the link. Do you want to come in and do you want to chop it up with me? Let me know. I can either send you the link either via email or I'll put it in the chat. Let me know. That's the homie Mike Mill, one of the greatest writers, I would say ghost writers, battle rappers too. My dude was he battled Daylight. I remember that was some time ago. Mike, Daylight, you battled Daylight and you won. Oh man, you're not in a position. Okay, man. Well, whenever you want to, Mike, you always can come to this platform and we can chop it up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Mike Mill is great. Y'all follow my dude, Mike Mill. I know he's doing this thing on I see you on Facebook. I see you on Facebook a lot. But follow my guy, Mike Mill, Michael Million. That's the homie too, for real. That's the homie. Like that's one of the real homies, not these fake ones. Yeah, man. You battling Daylight back in the day. I remember you battled Sonic Sound Waviest. Hey, man. Mike Mill, Shout out to Mike Mill. But yeah, y'all, look. Let me go back to the topic here with Operation Drawdown. Again, Big U, aka Eugene Henley, aka Big Draws. They playing in y'all face. They call this Operation Drawdown. Operation Draws Down. It's going to be an interesting summer, I shall say, and I'm gonna connect the dots because it just reminds me of some stuff that happened in a lot of neighborhoods in LA, especially over the past about 20 years. But according to the Times, LA Times, and I believe it was Times Now article, they said Operation Drawdown was launched as an aggressive response to the outstanding issues of gang violence and organized criminal activities in LA. The operation specifically targeted individuals suspected of engaging in violent crimes, drug traffic, the king, and other forms of illicit behavior that have plagued LA for decades, and they ain't lying. I'm not one of these dudes who's over here glorifying people like Jay-Z who sold dope to his community and to his family allegedly, because we don't even know if that's real or not. But if you are gonna propagate a story, and even with this situation, what's going on with Big U, you got so many of these young kids who were so misled, thinking you got to do this, you got to do that in order to get on. Not only did the drugs plague the community, you got this death style that plagued the community and a mindset that plagues the community. But one of the most notable arrests under this initiative was Bricc Baby. His involvement was alleged in a criminal activity that's drawn significant media outlets' attentions. Now, Times Now covered what happened, and they explained that the authorities have linked his arrest to a broader pattern of gang-related misconduct, underscoring the operation's expansive reach. So yeah, okay, what's going on, yo? What's going on? Pause real quick. I'm just over here reading the chat. Wasn't he friends with Waka Flocka's mom? Yeah. And Bimmy. Yeah, they were friends, and it has been alleged that Bimmy was working with the feds or working with the folks. So yeah, that is true. Stone by Design. He was in a documentary not too long ago, speaking on some stuff, and yeah, he's linked to them. So you add gravity to this situation with Big U. NBC News reports reveals that a reputed Los Angeles gang leader has been indicted in connections with a 2021 slaying. This indictment is especially significant because it indicts that Operation Drawdown isn't limited to street-level offenders. It's also successfully penetrating higher echelons of criminal organization. The gang leader in question, who influenced has been long suspected of orchestrating violent crimes in the area, now faces federal charges, making a major victory for law enforcement and potential turning point against the battle against organized crimes in LA. I don't want y'all to forget the MS-13s either, though. You know, don't forget about them either, because there's a lot of organized crime going on that end too. So yeah, this organized crime situation they're talking about with Big U, because he's part of Rolling 60s, the supposed leader of Rolling 60s, and I don't get it. This guy's been in the hood for a long time, y'all. I'll give y'all my story. My backstory is I was in LA. I was in Compton, and I moved to that area, the 60s, right before the riots. And Big U was running around 10th Ave on the street that I lived on or whatever. And I think he ended up getting locked up like early 90s or something, like late 80s, early 90s. He was gone for a long time. And there's a guy named Banker T, one of my heroes. he was part of the neighborhood, but he wasn't like no knucklehead. He was a straight hustler. And see, that's the thing. You got these gang members or so-called gang members who get a bad rap, and they ain't doing nothing but taking opportunity to do what they need to do. Like I said, I don't condone any of that. But I seen this guy hustle, and he was, legit doing what he was doing. So shout out, R.I.P. to Banker T, one of my neighborhood heroes, and he knew of Big U and all. I knew a lot of them cats over there. And like I said, I'm gonna draw the correlation to how they're doing neighborhoods in LA in a minute. You say the leader of MS-13 was arrested in Mexico a couple of days ago. Yep. And don't forget, TDA, that's the Venezuelan gang. Trump did what he did because he wanted to go after, he's calling them terrorists, as he should. So Trump went after TDA, and officially, the military can go holler at the cats from TDA. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, this whole indictment situation, it's a crackdown, and it's a further evidence of crackdown of wide-ranging impacts that a bunch of news media reports reported on the arrest of numerous gang members of South LA, just like how you just mentioned the leader of the MS-13 being arrested. Now, the articles that I've been reading, they talk about how the local police acting in concert with federal agents executed multiple raids targeting gang members operating a notoriously dangerous neighborhood. These operations were not only aimed at apprehending individuals involved in violent offenses, but it also disrupted the financial and operational structures that sustain these criminal groups. Somebody on Twitter put some stuff. Got a glimpse of Big U's house and the FBI, who they've captured. It was Bricc Baby. It was Loose Cannon. And Loose Cannon was he just got ran down on by Nipsey's homeboy, Cowboy. But there's a video that shows the effectiveness and the scope of Operation Drawdown, as well as its potential impact on local community and the entertainment industry, where gang affiliation and criminal enterprises have long intertwined with the culture of the fabric culture of LA. So yeah, look, peep gang. Let me run this. Let me play y'all this real quick, because what happened though. Well, let me let this run out real quick. So look, the head investigator of he's tied in with the FBI. He went ahead and came out and just did the press release and basically said what the whole thing was about. Now I got a snippet here. I'm gonna go ahead and run it. Y'all check it out. Listen.
Let me talk a little bit about Mr. Henley and the street gang here. As I said, Mr. Henley is a widely known leader within the rolling 60s. He rose to prominence in that gang decades ago, and he has since been a fixture on the internet, talk shows, and podcasts, all things that law enforcement have looked at closely as part of this investigation. He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label, and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles, funding a South LA-based charity, developing options, which purports to help at youth risk escape gang life and escape the perils of gangs in high crime areas. The facts alleged in the complaint paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat, and the criminals that enabled him. For example, Mr. Henley engaged in a murder of a musician signed to his label in 2021 and dumped the victim's body in Las Vegas off of the I-15 freeway. He then attempted to evade and obstruct the investigation into the murder, including ordering witnesses not to speak with law enforcement. Henley's criminal enterprise also engaged in other crimes, including transporting prostitutes across state lines, extorting strip clubs, marijuana dispensaries, and other businesses, and fraudulently applying for COVID loans in the form of a business relief loan. On that application, Mr. Henley falsely stated that his music label, Unique Music, operated at a $200,000 profit in 2019 and was entitled to government assistance, despite the reality that the company had operated at a loss and was ineligible for such relief. Finally, Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses to his charity, Developing Options, which, as I said, purports to give South LA at-risk youth alternatives to gang violence, drugs, and other criminal activity. Henley used this charity as a front. He used it to conceal his fraudulent activities, his criminal enterprises activities, and evade detection from law enforcement. If convicted on the racketeering conspiracy, he and his co-conspirators face approximately a 20-year federal prison sentence. I want to thank our federal law enforcement partners, our state law enforcement partners who brought about the result here today. The Los Angeles Metropolitan Gang Task Force from the FBI.
Yeah.
It's comprised of FBI agents, LAPD officers, IRS criminal investigation. The US
So yeah, I mean, y'all heard that. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the situation with the chat taken care of. Give me 1 second, y'all. But yeah, man. I mean, as far as the chat situation, don't worry about it, because like I said, my guy Mike Million dropped in. He didn't say. I mean, he said what he said, and he was able to get on. But I'm gonna look up those names that you had earlier. But let's get back on with this. Y'all heard all that, right? What's up? What's up, man? What's up? Yeah, man. Dan is right, because this is crazy. That's all I really could say. This is crazy. Now, Whack 100, he was going in a couple of days ago. Just a couple of days ago. What happened, Whack kind of said all this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And here's what he said. I ain't going to even play what Whack said. Whack 100, a.k.a. Cheddar Biscuit, Red Lobster Cheddar Biscuit Face. Red Lobster Cheddar Cheese Biscuit Face. That's what he looks like. Whack 100 said that there were 8 witnesses to that unalivement of the individual. And I think that individual was one of Big U's son's friends. Big U's son plays for the NFL. I forget exactly what team. And they found DNA underneath that victim's fingernails that might have been of Wax. I mean, I'm sorry, Big U. So, and Whack 100 was talking about this a couple of days ago. I was just like, wait, what? He knows all this? That guy, and people running around saying that Big U was a federal agent. But it looks like Whack 100 is. Now, Big U had a program called Developing Options, and I guess it was not complete. It was developing options for illicit activity. I don't know. Here's a note that I saw on the whole situation. It says, following a years long FBI investigation, federal authorities accused Henley of kidnapping and fatally pounding a young rapper in the face and leaving his body in the Las Vegas desert over perceived disrespect, and directing a robbery of an unlicensed LA marijuana dispensary that had stopped making extortion payments. That's pretty much what it is. Hold up. Yeah. So yeah, for the most part, what they're talking about though is developing options, and his trying to help youth, and him getting money, because he received over what they say. Developing Options received $500,000 as part of the program to help troubled youth but the nonprofit was allowed about $2.3 million from the city of LA from 2018 to 2023. They said Big U drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars purportedly in salary. And the whole thing about the marijuana dispensary being robbed because of the extortion payment, that all ties in with Big U allegedly defrauding companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities, including basketball players. They mentioned Draymond Green and Shaq, persuading them to donate to his charity and later allegedly transferring the money into his own personal bank account. Wow. Yeah, those are the developing options that he was doing. He was developing options to get things popping. Allegedly, let's just say allegedly. The overall narrative emerging from this whole situation is one of the decisive actions by law enforcement to stem the tide of gang violence and organized crime in LA. Operation Draws Down is portrayed as a multi-agency sustained effort to reclaim the control of neighborhoods that have been ravaged by years of unchecked criminality. The arrests, indictments, and raids not only send a strong message to those involved in such activity, but also raise questions about the historical failures of earlier approaches to gang intervention. For the community, these developments carry a promise of safer streets and reduction in a pervasive fear that has long been characterized in parts of the city. However, the aggressive tactics used by the police have also sparked debates about civil liberties and the balance between security and personal freedom, a discussion that is likely to continue as this operation unfolds. And that's where I'm at with it too, because remember, Saddam Hussein, he was basically the control, the corrector of the Middle East, the so-called Middle East. And then when they got rid of him, and then they got rid of Gaddafi, now in Northern Africa, slavery is in full effect. In all honesty, slavery is popping in Northern Africa, and it's mainly the dark-skinned Africans. But people like Hussein and people like, not to say that they were good people, but people like Hussein and Gaddafi, I ain't gonna say good or bad. I'm not gonna say that. They were trying to do their thing, and when they got taken out, essentially, all hell broke loose. And that might be the situation with the neighborhood. Primarily, it's that neighborhood, the West Side, Rolling 60s. They pretty much run. I don't even know the territory like that, to be honest. I know they don't go all the way into Inglewood, but you could say pretty much Inglewood, Manchester. But that's really that's always been like blood neighborhood. Manchester and Crenshaw on down to even Vernon. Let's just say Vernon and Crenshaw. And as far west, they pretty much are far west to the beach. And they would they would maybe let's just say the Van Ness or Western, because we got the VNGs and all that. I don't want to get too much into the gang politics, and I don't even talk about gang stuff like that on here, because like you heard what they were saying, they be listening to all these podcasts. Don't get it twisted. They do listen to these podcasts, and they use that as evidence. These cats that went on over here, like Florence. You're right. I would say Florence, because I used to live on 83rd and Crenshaw, so that was technically not even really nobody's hood, but you could say that was like Inglewood, not Inglewood family. You could probably say Crenshaw Mafia. You could say that. But yeah, Florence to about, we could say Vernon, 54th, something like that. But you know the politics there, man. But that area is so close to Hollywood. It's so close to Hollywood. That's why the 60s had a lot of this stuff on lock when it came to entertainment. And you heard Draymond Green's name was involved, and you hear Shaq's name involved, because Shaq wanted to be down with all this gang stuff back in the day. I remember that. It's a lot of celebrities who come out here and get infatuated with the gang culture and then end up getting caught up having to pay up. Shout out to Soulja Boy, Chris Brown. Y'all ain't really gang members. Y'all are mascots, and y'all get stuck up for the most part. And that's the sad part. A lot of these celebrities, low key, have been caught up in this, and we'll see how all this thing goes, because it's definitely interesting developments with this situation that's going on right here. Now, again, I remember Big U getting into it with Black Sam. That's Nipsey Hussle's brother, big brother. And some shots was, some shots rang off. And some shots rang off, and some things didn't happen. And Big Black Sam actually ended up going to jail for that. They said LeBron was crip walking when he got here. Yeah. So yeah, them being so close to Hollywood gives them that cachet, gives them that card to do what they do. And a lot of the big promoters in Hollywood were from 6-0. So it's not like, they wouldn't just be in a certain area. They wouldn't just be in those streets that I told you, from Florence to Vernon. They would be up there in Hollywood Hills and getting things cracking there too. You know what I'm saying? So nothing wasn't off limits. I remember 2000, I was used to do my thing, go to the club, and in the after hour club, you would see celebrities in the after hour spots. And I ain't gonna say no names who I saw, but it wasn't no funny stuff going on there though. The after hours was something. It wasn't like a freak off. It was just like an after hours after 2 a.m. A lot of clubs were shut down. And the after hours was where it was popping. You could still get a lap dance, you could still get some drink, you could still smoke on something, you know what I mean? That's what they did. I think I saw Clifton Powell there once. I was shocked. That's why when Cat was like, I saw Professor Ogle, I was like, oh damn. That's real talk, real spill. People be in them after hour joints in LA like it is, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, again, these are developing. This is a developing story. Big U, and I mentioned Black Sam and Nip because there's rumors, allegedly, Big U had something to do with that, set up the shitty cuz guy, put a battery in his back, etc. There were threats to Nip's life days before because Nip was doing a video with John Legend and DJ Khaled, and they were like, you got to pay taxes here. You can't just be doing no videos here. Where's my broken records? Hold on, let me see something. Cause I remember doing the video in the hood, and broken records got to be here. I remember doing the video, and I grew up in that neighborhood. And where's it at? There it is. Let me see if I could do it without running the audio. Not that I'll get struck because this is my ish. But yeah, I had my nephew a video. This is the video. This is it. We were doing a video back day in our neighborhood. Let me let y'all. This is like a time machine. Let's go back. That's on Victoria. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we were doing a video in our neighborhood, and yeah, they were looking at us all crazy, not knowing that I grew up over there. Like that. That's why you see us Slauson Donuts. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my nephew. Both my nephews in the video. They rapping, they spitting. We're supporting them. They have gone on to do bigger and better things. My nephew here, he still spits, but he's doing some other creative stuff. And yeah, we were in our neighborhood. That's right there on 11th Ave, right there. That's on Victoria, whatever. But we was there, and what happened though is they were looking at us like, who are y'all? They were really looking at us like, who is y'all? But I'm like, bro, I grew up over there. They couldn't really say anything to me. Not like that. Not that I'm some big bad wolf gang. But just let y'all know, there's the politics over there. I get it. But don't allow the police to come in and police the community. We still need community policing. How about you get somebody that's not like a Big U, who has all these alleged things going on in his backdrop and his connections to Hollywood and his connections to certain things and whatever. Get community, let the community organize, because that's what time it's going to be in a minute anyway. Trump's cutting all the federal funding and this federal stuff and all that. We're going to have to police ourselves anyway. And we don't need nobody to police us. Right there on 54th and Crenshaw. That's what that is. Shout out to JR. my little nephew Jay Hart. Yeah, we was right across the street from Nip Spot. Not there, but no, not there either. Right there. We were right across the street from Nip Spot or whatever. And we always show love to Nip. It's funny, YG used to be over there. I think my little nephew got into it with YG at one point. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Mustard, of course, you know. Shout out to DJ AG. So yeah. You see me, I'm repping the old school Crenshaw. And right there at the stop sign, that's right there. I grew up on that block, basically 11th Ave and 63rd. But they were the hood patrol came by and was like, "Who is you?" But you know, they know my face. But like I said, I'm not from over there. But I am from over there, if you know what I mean. So the whole little gang injunction stuff, they couldn't sweep me in that because I thank God I was guided in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't get caught up in any of the gang activity. But yeah, that's me. This is back day. We was, you know, I was supporting my nephews and we were on the creative side, you know what I mean? So yeah, grew up in that area and the politics over there was crazy, but we still made it through. Now look, I'm gonna wrap this up, and all I gotta say though is they've been watching this guy for 15 years. So this whole thing didn't just come out of nowhere. They've been watching him for 15 years. And I got to find that diss record that the young kid did. I guess it was a diss record to my guy, Big U. And Big U took it as a diss record. And that's where the whole unalivement of the young rapper in Vegas came out about. And they supposedly have DNA, Big U's DNA under that little kid's fingernails or something, and rest in peace to that, and you know, condolences to the family. But yeah, man, Operation Drawdown, though, or whatever they're calling this, instead of chain reaction throughout Los Angeles, high-profile arrests like Bricc Baby and Loose Cannon, and Big U for this 2021 slaying and a mass apprehension of street gangs in South LA underscore the operation's broad scope and critical importance. The viral video evidence further cements the operation's presence on the public stage as citizens witness firsthand the dramatic efforts to rein in on criminal activity. This is just the beginning, y'all. This ain't it. It ain't over. It's a lot more to come. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know, when the feds come after you, it wasn't the LAPD, it wasn't the sheriffs, it was the feds. When the feds come after you, they come in and they got it. They got you. Do not get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this just lets you know, the gang banging stuff don't work. The over policing of the neighborhoods don't work either. You know what I'm saying? I'll say that. Community policing works. Community governance. You know what I'm saying? We gotta lift up. We gotta lift draws up. Mike, you crazy. That's what I say, man. You gotta come on here and you gotta shed some light. I think you would have brought some light to this situation. I'm just, I'm straight with the news with it. Y'all follow my guy, Mike Million. Mike is hilarious. And like I said, Mike could be a low-key comedian. He ain't not a low-key comedian. Mike is a comedian, but he ain't no joke. I'll say it like that. He ain't no joke. Mike will beat your ass. But yeah, man. Yeah, you're right. We gotta lift up. We gotta lift draws up. We gotta lift our draws up. How about that? All right, y'all. Look, I think I'm done. And again, I'm not entertaining any of the mess, the YouTube mess. Not yet. I'll probably have Jack Fuller come through. She'll probably say something. And I know my own girl. Shout out to Real News. She dropped this, and I was dying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not mentioning no names. It's just gonna be jokes from here on out, and take it how you want it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can take a dick, but you can't take a joke. All right, y'all. I'm out.
Wolf gang, where you at, man? Wolf. Yeah.